My name is Calvin Lack, and I work at the Faculty of Graduate Studies at the University of Calgary. I'm one of the graduate recruitment officers here, and my role is to help students like yourselves reach their dream of studying in Canada. I help students connect with supervisors, I help them navigate the process of admission, and answer any questions that prospective students may have. So today's webinar, we're focusing on student life and city life. Caldo does have other webinars that we've hosted that explains a little bit about the admission process, our research strengths, the programs that we offer, and I encourage you to look on Caldo's YouTube channel to review those webinars. So let's get started with the University of Calgary. A little bit about our university. We are a member of Canada's U15 research intensive universities. We have about 30,000 students on our campus, 24,000 undergrads, and about 6,000 graduate students. And about 25% of our graduate students are international. We have a beautiful campus, which is a park. Like we have a lot of acres, a lot of trees, ponds. You'll see a lot of wildlife on campus. So it's a very beautiful campus to walk around during your lunch hour or during your breaks. Where the number 6 research intensive university in Canada, which means our degrees are internationally recognized. 91% of our graduate students find employment within 6 months after graduation, and we have a wide range of programs and offices to support students. So a little bit about what you can do in the university. So our team mascot is the dinosaur. As you can see, his name is Rex. And at the University of Calgary, we have a variety of different sports teams, from basketball, football, volleyball, to ice hockey. A lot of students on their days off love to come and watch one of their games. So if you're a student at the University of Calgary, attending one of these sporting events is free. So gather your friends, buy your Dinos gear, wear red, come on and cheer on the University of Dinos student sports team. At the University of Calgary, we also have a variety of different clubs. And joining a club is one of the best ways to enhance your post-secondary experience. Our student union registered clubs are autonomous, meaning they run their own student clubs, and they help improve student life. There are a variety of different clubs, from languages to dancing, to hiking, to video games. So anything that you can think of, anything you have an interest in, most likely there's a student group that you can join. This is a great way to meet other students, a great way to meet friends, and a great way to get involved in student life. Okay. So a little bit about Calgary, since students coming to Calgary will be living in Calgary and want to know a little bit about the city, what's there to do, what's it like living in Calgary. And most people don't know where Calgary is. So there's a little map of where Calgary is. We're in the province of Alberta. We're not the capital city, but we are the largest city in Alberta. We have about 1.3 million people living in Calgary. We have beautiful landscapes with the Rocky Mountains to the west and prairie grasslands to the east. We have a very strong economy. We are known as the energy capital of Canada. So this is where a lot of oil, a lot of energy production is generated. And a lot of students from around the world come to study chemical and petroleum engineering, sustainable energy. These are some of the areas that we're very strong in. So Calgary has, in 2018, was ranked the 4th most livable city in the world, and the number 1 most livable city in North America. So when you think about all the great places to live in North America, Calgary was ranked number 1. You know, they rank it on such things as education, as safety, healthcare. So living in Calgary, it's a great place to be. You know, we have a very highly educated population, and we're Canada's 4th most diverse city. As mentioned earlier, we are the energy capital of Canada, and we have the highest concentration of corporate head office and small businesses per Canada. We are also Canada's sunniest city, over 333 days a year. You can see in the picture below, is a picture of the city skyline with the Rocky Mountains in the back, and we'll look at some of that later on. Calgary is also a very safe and very clean city. So a lot of students coming here are very surprised. You know, they can walk around. They don't have any fear of crime. It's not as dangerous as other places. So what are some of the things to do in Calgary? So Calgary is a world class when it comes to things to see and do. There are so many world class facilities in one city that are perfect for special visits, whether you're visiting Calgary or calling it home. This picture is our newly built Calgary Central Library. This is a hub for innovation, community, and inspiration. This 240,000 square foot building has been hailed as a must-see destination by New York Times and Architectural Digest. It's an absolutely massive, beautiful building. If you guys come to Calgary, this is one of the buildings you have to see, especially if you're studying architecture. You'll be amazed at the design. Other things to do in Calgary, we have something called the Heritage Park. This is a historical village. You know, if you're into history, if you're a history buff, then this is the largest living history museum in Canada. They have costume staff, historical buildings, they have rides, activity, events that you can immerse yourself in from the 1860s to the 1950s. You can experience Gasoline Alley Museum and see some vintage vehicles and automobile memorabilia. So if you're looking to see what it was like 100 years ago or 150 years ago in Canada, this is the museum to go to. They have people walking around, they have plays going on. It's such a wonderful park to visit. And I highly recommend it if you are living or if you're coming to Calgary. Calgary might be most famous for the Calgary Stampede. So the Calgary Stampede has been billed the greatest outdoor show on earth. It's an annual rodeo exhibition and festival that's held every year in July. It's a 10-day event, and over 1 million visitors come from around the world to take part in the parade, in rides, to go see concerts, to eat the food. This is a must-see event for students when they come to Calgary. Highly recommend it. If you are looking to come to Calgary as a visitor, I recommend coming in July and visiting the Calgary Stampede. You'll see what's it like to be like a cowboy. You can dress up. Very, very entertaining for family and for students. So Calgary is a big city, but we also have a lot of pathways and bikeways. Calgary has the most extensive urban pathway and bikeway in North America. You can see, you know, in the summertime, people go biking, walking, inline skating. In the wintertime, they still take strolls. You know, Calgary community parks and natural areas are connected by this extensive network of multi-use pathways available for all Calgarians to enjoy, whether for walking, running, cycling, inline skating. So, you know, if you're into that outdoor activity, this is a great way to sort of relieve stress, get some exercise, and take advantage of some of the extensive pathways that Calgary has to offer. This is something that's very unique to Calgary as well, is the Bow River. It's a beautiful river right in the heart of the city with multiple parks and lovely walk pathways. You can see in the summertime, a lot of people like to go tubing or boating down the river. And yes, that is a surfer in that photo. There's a little spot along the river where the waves are crashing, and a lot of surfers come and surf there. In fact, some Calgarians are now trying to organize an event centered around surfers in this area. So, you know, in the hot summer months, if you have time with your friends, you can rent a boat, you can rent a kayak, and sort of slowly stroll around, float along the Bow River. Very, very fun to do in the summertime. And the good thing about the University of Calgary is you can rent equipment right from the university and take it down with you to the rivers, or if you're going hiking or skiing as well. So Calgary also hosts hundreds of festivals every year. We have the Chinatown Festival, we have the Comic Con Festival. So for students who are into anime, into comic books, this is a huge, huge festival held in the summertime where they have guest panels from Hollywood. People dress up in their favorite costumes and they parade around the city. One big event, one big celebration, very, very fun. We also have the Global Fest fireworks that happens in August, and teams from around the world have fireworks competition, and they have their fireworks displayed to music, and there's a winner announced at the end of the 5-day festival. Very cool. And for music lovers, we have the Folk Festival that is held every year at Princess Allen Park. It's a huge event for indie music, for people who enjoy going out to the park and listening to music. Really, really fun. And also, near Calgary is the Royal Tyrrell Museum. This is Canada's tourist attraction and center of paleontology research, known for its collection of more than 130,000 fossils. This is a world-renowned museum, and it's only an hour and a half away from Calgary. So if you're into dinosaurs, if you're into paleontology, if you're into what it was like during that era, this is a beautiful museum, and a lot of students go on their off days to visit this museum. And of course, Calgary is near the Rocky Mountains and to Banff National Park. This is probably Banff is a resort town and one of Canada's most popular tourist destination. It's known for its mountainous surroundings and hot springs, and it's a destination for outdoor sports and features such as hiking, biking, skiing, all can be done in Banff. It's only an hour and about 20 minutes away from Calgary. So again, a lot of tourists, a lot of students love on the weekends renting a car and driving up to the mountain and spending time in nature. If you haven't been to the mountains or the Rocky Mountains, this is such a great sort of experience and such a beautiful sight. You'll never forget that. So as you can see, the city of Calgary, there's a lot to do. It's very warm. It's very encouraging. The people here are very friendly. I've lived here for about 10 years, and I can honestly say that it's probably the best and most diverse city that I've been around. There's a lot of things to do, great restaurants, friendly atmosphere, very safe. So if you're thinking of studying somewhere in Canada, think of University of Calgary. We have a YouTube video now. It's about 2 minutes that kind of highlights the city and things to do around the city of Calgary. So just give me 1 second here. Maria, can you start that video?
It's where I live, it's where I breathe, it's where I feel every moment going by. It's where I've come to feel the sun and the freedom of this endless open sky. And I'm here, yeah, and I'm right here, yeah. It's where the dream has got some hope of coming true. I take a chance and join the dance. I feel there's nothing out there that I couldn't do. And I'm here, yeah. And I'm right here, yeah, 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 yeah.
Great. So as you can see in that video, there's just so much to that the universe. There's just so much that the city of Calgary has to offer, and Calgary is no longer a big small city, but rather an emerging global city. So I encourage you. I would love for you to be right here, to be part of the energy, and to live in Calgary and to study at the University of Calgary. Again, if you want to learn more about some of the programs and the strengths of the University of Calgary, please check out some of the webinars on Caldo's YouTube channels that specifically talk about the University of Calgary. If you have any questions, you can email me directly at future.grad@ucalgary.ca. And also, I'll stick around to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you for your time. We look forward to having you join the UCalgary family and living in Calgary, one of the best places to live and the best city to live in North America. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Calvin. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Danny Freire, representative at the University of Saskatchewan, who will be the one presenting today.
Can you hear me now? Hello? Yes. Okay. My name is Danny Freire, and I'm the manager of student recruitment here at the University of Saskatchewan. And thank you so much for organizing this webinar, and let me jump right into it. The University of Saskatchewan is located in the province of Saskatchewan, which is right next to the province of Alberta, from where my colleague Calvin talked about. The province of Saskatchewan, of course, as you can imagine, is not a well-known province, but it's a beautiful prairie landscape that we have here. And there's a lot of benefits to international students that decide to come to study at the University of Saskatchewan and the province of Saskatchewan. One of the first benefits that you can see is the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, which through the Saskatchewan Immigration Nominee Program, the province invites residency applications from non-Canadians who want to make Saskatchewan their home. The successful applicants will be nominated to the federal government so they can get permanent residency in Canada. So that's one of the pluses of coming to study with us. In addition to that, many international students, we are aware, they worry about their health and what's going to happen to go to the doctor or if they get sick or something like that. So the government of Saskatchewan offers a free Saskatchewan government health insurance, which is available for full-time students with a valid student permit. As a full-time student, you also have access to extended health and dental benefits provided through the Graduate Students Association, which is a huge benefit in case that you get sick or you need to buy some medicines in order to maintain yourself healthy while you study over here in Canada. The University of Saskatchewan's historic main campus is recognized as one of the most beautiful in the country. And this campus is located in the heart of a vibrant city of Saskatoon, which has a growing population of more than 270,000 people. Saskatoon offers many of the amenities of a large urban center, along with the friendliness and accessibility of a smaller city. There are plenty of things to do in Saskatoon every season, with live music, events, festivals, and cultural experiences offered year-round. Saskatoon was nominated among number 18 on the New York Times list of 52 places to go in 2018. In addition to that, Saskatoon, with its vibrant mix of many cultures, Saskatoon has an awesome culinary and local shopping scenes that also stand out year-round. In addition to that, we have amazing buildings like the Remain Modern Art Gallery that hosts the largest collection of Picassos in Canada. Many students always ask me about the winter, and the winter is a way of life for Canadians here. But many international students that come to visit us, they find the winter to be very accommodating, and they enjoy lots of activities. Saskatoon also has a great accessibility with a 20-minute rush hour, so you have more time to study, enjoy hobbies, and relax. In addition to that, you will receive a U-Pass, which is an unlimited transit pass for students, and one of the main bus terminals is located on campus, so it's easy to go anywhere in the city from the campus. Saskatoon also has a lot of varieties of festivals, as I mentioned. Some of these festivals happen in the summer or the winter. To highlight some of them, we have the summer. In the summer, we have the Jazz Festival, the Fringe Festival, and in the winter, we have Winterruption and Winter Shines. This is coupled with all of the activities that are surrounding the university and allow for you to have a very good and active life here in Saskatoon. As I mentioned, the University of Saskatchewan is located in the city of Saskatoon and is one of the most beautiful campuses. But in addition to that, we are home to more than 25,700 students from around the world, out of which 3,400 students are international students. And 40% of these students are in grad studies, so they're studying at the graduate level. The university is ranked among the top 4 in water resources, veterinary sciences, environmental science and engineering, agricultural sciences, according to the ARW 2019 subject rankings in the world. In addition to that, the University of Saskatchewan is a member of the U15, which is a group of top research universities in Canada. And we are known for our collaborative interdisciplinary approaches to tackling global challenges such as infectious diseases and food and water security. If you study here at the USask, you will have access to world-class facilities on campus, including the Canadian Light Source, or synchrotron, BIDO Intervac, or Vaccine and Infectious Diseases Intervac facility, the Global Institute for Food Security, the Global Institute for Water Security, and the Sylvia Federer Canadian Center for Nuclear Innovation, to name a few. These are our signature areas that the university has said that they would like to be the pioneers in leading in the world. We are interested in attracting people that want to discover the solutions to global challenges and to do research with the university. We have a strong focus on the collaborative interdisciplinary research aimed at solving the pressing global issues such as infectious diseases and food and water security. Some of our research at USask is enhanced by some of the most advanced research centers and facilities in the world. And here, I want to show you some of those facilities so you have a better idea that I had mentioned already. In the BIDO Intervac, we develop vaccines for devastating diseases. One of the researches that we have done is collaborate to find out solutions to the Zika virus that happened in Latin America. We want to predict and prepare for water threats in the changing climate. The Global Institute for Water Security supports the sustainable use of the world's water resources and protection against natural hazards like flood and drought. USask is ranked first in Canada and 19th in the world for water resources research. That means that we are the largest university-led water research program worldwide, which makes a unique opportunity at the University of Saskatchewan. We also have the Global Institute for Food Security, that allows the university to continue to work with the demands of a growing population that requires more safe and reliable food from around the world. And of course, the lighting the way for research worldwide are the synchrotron, which is a research facility that allows to examine the molecular level of the particles. And in the university, scientists use this research facility to make structural changes to an antibody that is showing a lot of potential for reducing the growth of cancer tumors. Very important work that takes place. We're looking for young innovators. So our students and research come from around the world to work alongside our international acclaimed faculty in diverse areas of studies. As a graduate student at USask, you will learn, research, and discover solutions that benefit the world. These are young innovators. We have here some young innovator stories. We have PhD student E1's software makes diagnosis faster. It takes less than 30 seconds and is around 10 times faster than current technology. The software improves current computer-aided diagnosis, CADX technology, which assists doctors to detect diseases from medical imaging scans such as ultrasound, computer tomography, and retinal fundus imaging, which captures photos of the back of the eye. Wang and the Professor Sok-Bom Ko are teaching the software to detect lung and breast cancer from CT and ultrasound images with very positive results. Another story is here of an artificial portable kidney that patients who have suffered renal failure could wear is to be created by a research team at USask. This wearable kidney will reduce the need for hospital visits and decrease healthcare costs because dialysis could take place during a patient's regular routine. Another quick example is, of course, breast cancer screening tool, where the PhD student Raghubira Goel's research may help limit the potential impact of the enzyme SRMS on the proliferation of breast cancer cells. And finally, this is a student from Colombia, where he is studying how the fusarium fungus contamination in wheat caused more than $1 billion in economic losses in Canada in 2016, affecting almost 80% of the Saskatchewan and Manitoba cereal crops. Master students Carlos Ochoa and Professor Fiona Buchanan have found that yellow mealworms can eat wheat infected with the fungus, whose mycotoxins are harmful. So this is the type of work that our students are doing here at the university. In order to become a student, of course, the university offers a great opportunity with Dean scholarships, where the Dean of the College of Graduate Studies offers scholarships for master students of $18,000 and doctoral students for $22,000. Please take note that is for up to 3 years of your studies here at the university. And then there's other scholarships like the graduate scholarships, where there's a master's scholarship for $16,000 and a doctoral scholarship for $20,000 per year for up to 3 years. We have other types of fellowships and assistantships that are able to help you while you're studying here at the University of Saskatchewan, and you have to find those opportunities when you come and study with us. In addition to that, we have special scholarships through partnership agreements. In Latin America specifically, we have partnerships with Ecuador, CONACYT, and other opportunities like the Emerging Leaders of Americans program, in case that you decide to come and visit us before or while you're doing a master's degree to learn more about the university. The process to apply for all applicants is, of course, we're looking for different things, but generally speaking, we're looking for at least a 70%, of course, as a USask grade system equivalent, and of course, you have to demonstrate the ability to have independent thought, advanced study, and research. And at a master's level, we're looking for a 4-year undergraduate program, and at doctoral level, of course, we're looking for a master's degree before you can apply to that. There are English proficiency requirements. The university uses a variety of, there's a variety of tests that you can take, but the most popular ones are IELTS or TOEFL. The IELTS score is 6.5 with no area below 6.0, and the TOEFL is of 86 with no area below 19. In order to apply, we invite you to visit our website at grad.usas.ca, where you can find all the information about all the programs and the steps to apply. But in addition to that, I want to just mention that we do have an excellent language center in case you're not prepared with your English, and you can come and get ready with us before you start your master's or PhD. The university, as part of the city, offers a variety of student services and supports. Among them are Aboriginal Student Center, Access and Equity Services, International Student Support, Student Central, Student Employment and Career Center, where if you come as an international student and you're thinking about working, this is a good place to go and find out how to prepare yourself to obtain work here while you study. And finally, we have our own Student Wellness Center. Because this is such an important topic for students, we have our own personal counseling, hospital, massage and chiropractors, and doctors within the university that you can access as part of being a student. But of course, you have access to the whole city, the clinics and the hospitals that are located here. Graduate students usually have families, so we do have childcare available to students that have families and want to bring their families with them. So there's a really good option for you to bring your kids and for them to have childcare here at the university. Of course, we understand that you have to live somewhere, and as part of the city and the university, we have a grad house where you can have an in-suite kitchen and common area, 1 or 2 bedrooms with utilities, internet, cable TV, and laundry included in the rental fee. And of course, there is, if you have a family and you want to bring your children, we also have residences available for you in those locations with kitchen, living room, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom in each suite. Of course, studying and being part of the city and the university means that you have to have some fun. There is intramural sports and more than 100 student societies and clubs, and we hope that you belong and become part of the university's groups and become active within the variety of things that we have to offer. And if you have any questions about the city, Saskatoon, or the university, we are more than happy to be able to answer those questions. I have here with me my colleague Kiela Caudillo, and myself will be more than happy to answer any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Danny. So now it's time for Q&A. So if you have any questions, either general or specific to one Caldo University, you can please write them down in the chat. Both Calvin and Danny, along with Keela, will answer them for you.
Question here about covering 100% for PhD of the tuition. The scholarships are not meant to cover 100% of the PhD. They're meant to be covering up to 3 years of study at the University of Saskatchewan. And I'm not sure how that will work for the University of Calgary.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
That they're asking if the scholarships or fellowships could cover 100% of the PhD.
No, they don't. So it will cover. So the scholarships that are offered by. Okay, let me just backtrack. Every graduate program offers guaranteed funding to students that they admit, and admission is very competitive. So if you're admitted into a master's or PhD program, the program or the supervisor must guarantee your funding. It ranges from $18,000 to $23,000 a year. It's enough to cover your tuition, but not enough to cover your tuition and living expenses. There are many different scholarships that international students can apply for to help with their living costs, their schooling. But as an international student registered as full-time, you also have the option of working up to 20 hours a week outside of the university. So the scholarship, the funding provided by the program, it's enough to cover tuition, but not enough to cover tuition and living expenses.
That's a good answer. Thanks, Calvin.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
Which topic is submitted, the ITP or IBT?
IBT.
So I see a question for Calgary. Do you know the requirements? The minimum requirement for students coming from Mexico, for example, is an 8 out of 10 or 80%. That's the minimum requirement set up by the Faculty of Graduate Studies. Again, each program outlines their own admission requirements. Some may ask for a higher GPA. Some might ask for a higher IELTS than 6.5 that we require. So I would recommend that you go onto our website and look at the program that you're interested in and look at what the requirements are, as some programs might have additional documentations that you need to submit, such as a research proposal, a statement of research. And as well, the deadlines for each program vary. Applications now are open for most programs for the fall 2020 term, but the deadlines to apply vary for each program. So be sure to check the deadline so that you don't miss the deadline for the program you're interested in.
To apply for CONACYT. And I guess we would encourage you to apply for the CONACYT scholarship because that means that the professors over here at the university will say, okay, you already have funding, so you're interested in doing the research with us. Let's work together. So it will make it easier for you in the application process, I would say.
So I see a question from Juan asking about changing from a course-based program in math and stats to a thesis-based program. That is certainly possible, but the challenge would be to find a supervisor who would be able to supervise your thesis research. Normally, students might change from a thesis-based to a course-based, as you don't need a supervisor in course-based programs. But certainly, if you're in a course-based program and you feel your direction of studies is changing and you want to focus more on research, you can definitely do so as long as you find a supervisor that is willing to support your change. As again, the funding would come from the supervisor. So yes, it's possible, but you do need to find a supervisor first. I see another question by Alexandre Corella asking if visitor programs to build up new collaboration link. They want to stay for 1 or 2 months in Canada, trying to do something collaboratively. We do have something at the University of Calgary and also at other CALDO member universities called a visiting student researcher program. So if you're currently enrolled in a master's or PhD program in your home university, you can come to the University of Calgary, University of Saskatchewan, or any other CALDO member university as a visiting student and stay for 1 month up to a year. We don't assess any tuition. We assess minimum general fees, and I think that's pretty standard for other CALDO member universities as well. So you can come and do research for 1 month up to a year and build collaboration that way. Good question.
Can come if they're already in university and they're in the undergraduate program or even master's program. They could also apply for the ELAP scholarship to come and visit any of the Calgary institutions. I think that's another great way to come and visit. And for Mexico specifically, I would add that MyTax is another way to come and get that experience at the different universities. So either one of those 3 ways will be excellent to come and have that research connection at the universities.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yep, great scholarships through ELAP. If you guys don't know what ELAP is, CALDO has information. It's called the Emerging Leaders of America Project, I think, or maybe Danny knows.
Emerging Leaders of American Program, I think it is.
Yeah. You can email CALDO and they'll provide you with more information, or you can email the universities themselves because each university handles the process themselves.
Yeah.
There's a person who says in the United States and I was planning to come to Canada. He's asking if he needs the English test again.
So if you're studying in the US and you're planning to do your PhD in Canada, will you have to have the proficiency test in English again? Well, that's a very good question. That's a bit tricky because if you have only done your master's in English, it would all depend on each university's qualifications to see if you are required to take another English proficiency test or not. But if you have done more than your master's, then there's different policies the universities have in order to consider you as a PhD student. I hope that answers the question for Bernardo Miranda.
program on occupational health and safety.
There's a question from Juan Carlos Saleden. I'm interested in a math and a statistics program. Could I change from course-based to thesis-based during the first year to thesis-based? Good question. So generally speaking, it's easier to, and it depends a lot on the program, department, and the plan of study for that course. So most programs say, okay, you can start in the course base and might be able to change to the thesis base. I would recommend that it's easier to start in the thesis base and then to change to the course base. But it's all a conversation with each one of your professors and departments to make sure that they allow you to do that. And again, there's different politics in different departments and universities, so you'll have to think about that and make sure that you ask those questions when you are talking with the professors of the different departments as you do your search for universities.
Another question, if there is necessary to have experience in certain specific areas for the eligibility of master qualification.
Also, maybe as you guys are thinking of questions to jot down, I wanted to let you guys know that Caldo and some of their Caldo universities will be participating in the EduCanada Fair happening in Mexico City and other cities in Mexico from October 25th to 26th in Mexico City. And I think they're going to Pueblo and I don't know where else. You have to check with Caldo. But if you're in Mexico City, the University of Calgary will be there, and we would love for you to come by and visit our booth, learn a little bit more about the programs. We'll have a professor there as well. We do have a professor that's stationed at UNAM that's been helping students connect with professors here and helping them guide their application and answer questions. So if you are in Mexico City, I invite you to come and visit us in October when we come down to Mexico City. Or if you want to connect with our professor at UNAM, please send me an email and I'll be more than happy to do that.
Si la tesis base es para toda una carrera de finanza y la de la course base es para private sector.
So here someone asks, thesis base is to have a career in teaching and course base for private sector. It's a good question. So thesis base is more research based and it's more academic. So students in a master's thesis base often would go into a PhD after that, whereas a course base is usually a final degree, and normally that's used to advance a person's career. Not all thesis-based students will go into teaching. There are a lot of private sector jobs available for students with a thesis-based research degree. So it just depends. But please keep in mind that if you are in a course-based master's degree program, normally that is not that does not make you eligible for a PhD program. As to be eligible for a PhD program, you do need a thesis-based master's program.
Absolutely correct, Calvin. That's a very good point. And really, when you think about it, you have to align yourself with what is it that you want to do in the future. And if the research route is where you want to go, you don't have to be a teacher necessarily to be a scientist. You can also work in some of the research centers doing a specific research to help solve some of those problems in the world that we have. So it's not the PhD and the thesis base is not only about teaching, it's also about being a scientist and really being curious about finding those solutions for the future.
Bachelor program process to apply. Do you want to talk about undergraduate process to apply? So,
So we answered to Alan David Jimenez on the process to apply for undergraduate. The process to apply for undergraduate studies is a little bit more straightforward than the process for graduate studies. Basically, you have to submit an application. When you submit your application, you have to upload all your documents, meaning you have to upload your university transcripts or high school transcripts, and then make sure that you have the English proficiency requirement, so the IELTS or TOEFL. And with that, the admissions officers can make decisions and give you an answer. I think Kayla posted a link on how to apply for undergraduate programs. Angel, yes, I think the presentation portion of the webinar has finished, but we're still answering any questions that you may have.
Oh, I just see one question pop up from Camilo. I heard that the University of Calgary has two kinds of masters, Master of Science and Master of Engineering. What are the differences in the process to apply between the both? Good question. The Master of Science is a thesis-based program. And with our engineering programs, they require students to have a professor before applying. So you do need to reach out to professors here and have them accept you as a student before you apply to a Master's of Science in Engineering. Whereas the Master's of Engineering is a course-based program. It's a professional program. You don't need a supervisor to apply. You just need to meet the minimum requirements to apply to that program. So that's the difference between the two. And that's probably the same for other CALDO member universities as well. Check the requirements for the program, as some programs do require you to have a professor prior to applying. That's where my job comes in. I help students connect with professors. If you're having issues reaching out to professors, send me an email. Let me know who you want to work with, and we can help guide you through that process.
Yeah, it's the same process for all universities, I believe. Calvin, good point.
Yeah. So for you students, just remember, even for programs that state a supervisor is not required when applying, I do always recommend to students to try and reach out to some professors and have them accept you before you apply, because with the support of a supervisor during your application, it really helps move it along quicker than if there was no supervisor in mind.
If you choose, good question. So if you come referred by the Calden Consortium, then yes, because then you will be flagged or referred to one of us, so like Calvin or myself, to be able to look at your application. So having a conversation with Caldo and saying, okay, Caldo, colleagues, we are ready to apply for, I don't know, University of Calgary, University of Saskatchewan. So then they will send us that information, and then we will help you through the process. Make sure that you have conversations as to what are the documents. Regardless, you still should check out each of the university's websites to make sure that we have the right research, the right professors, the right programs that you're interested in. But yes, it will be a great opportunity for you to work with the Caldo Consortium.
Yes.
So, fantastic, Alan. Beatriz Ortiz, if I choose a different university in my TOEFL test, because I didn't know, would you accept my results? As long as you meet the minimum requirement. Of course, every university has different requirements. As long as you meet the minimum requirements, we will accept your test, your TOEFL or IELTS test. So it all depends on what your score is and what is the minimum in each band, because each university will be different. There. You're welcome, Beatrice. Okay. Good question, Alan. If you're still unsure, you're still exploring, you can contact the Caldo Consortium. If not, we're more than happy to help you if you already know more or less what you're looking for. Have you already gone into grad.esals.ca to see the programs and professors? Calvin, there's a note for you.
Come up here. If I want to be in a PhD program in UCalgary and already know who I want to work with, should I write to him first and make it all through Caldo? So that's a good question. If you already know who you want to work with, then you can contact the professor directly. You don't need to go through Caldo. Caldo is a great starting point. If you don't know which university you want to go to, they can help sort of narrow the search for you. But if you already have a professor in mind and you know you want to work with this professor, you can go ahead and reach out to that person. Right now, it's just the beginning of the fall term, so response times for professors are a bit varied and can be a little bit slow. So don't get discouraged if you haven't heard back from the professor in a week or two. Just know that they're busy with classes. They may not have had time to read your email yet. If you haven't heard back in a couple of weeks, feel free to send me an email, and I can sort of follow up with the professor for you.
We also have an agreement with Connect.
Did today. If you do have any questions, you have our contact for the University of Calgary and also from the University of Saskatchewan. Again, University of Calgary will be visiting Mexico City in October, and I think University of Saskatchewan as well. So if you want to meet us face to face, we'll be more than happy to get in contact with you when we visit Mexico City.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And thank you so much for everyone that participated and great questions out here. And thank you to Caldo for organizing today's webinar.